ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 19, Verse 1. Shri Shukovacha इति विरोचनेर्वाक्यं धर्मयुक्तं ससूनृतं निशम्य भगवान् प्रीतः pratinandiyedamabravit. Shukadeva Goswami continued. When the Supreme Person of Godhead, Vamana Deva, heard Bali Maharaja speaking in this pleasing way, he was very satisfied. For Bali Maharaja had spoken in terms of religious principles. Thus the Lord began to praise him. So it's a religious principle of a grahastha, of a kshatriya, to give charity, to give alms to a brahmana. So according to his position, Bali Maharaj offered so many things. This is also one very important thing about charity. Charity should be as per one's position, as per one's capability. So then it will be considered religious principle. And also, Bali Maharaja spoke in a very pleasing way. So this is something which is very important to develop. As devotees also, we should deal with each other in a pleasing way. Of course, pleasing way doesn't necessarily mean compromise. Pleasing way doesn't mean compromise. Pleasing way means even if there is something that we want to talk against about, there should be, pleasing. We should speak in such a way that there is humility, and we can be pleasing nature. The nature can be aggressive, then revolting. This kind of thing will not help. Even if something has to be changed, corrected, it's always nice to be humble and pleasing. But we can still speak the truth. It's not that in the name of being pleasing that we compromise or we don't speak the truth. So thus the Lord began to praise him. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Vachastavaitajjana Sunratam Kulochitam Dharmayutam Yashaskaram Yasya Pramanam Bhrugava Sampvaraye Pitamaha Kula Prashantaha. Supreme Person of Godhead said, O King, you are indeed exalted because two reasons. Your present advisors are the Brahmanas, who are the descendants of Bhrigu. So that was the first reason why Bali Maharaj is exalted. And because your instructor for your future life is your grandfather, the peaceful and venerable Prahlad Maharaja. We already saw how peaceful Prahlad Maharaja was in the face of so much of problems. So he is peaceful. And so, because of his amazing qualities, he is also venerable, respectable. So, two reasons. Your statements are very true and they completely agree with the religious etiquette. They're in keeping with the behavior of your family and they enhance your reputation. Now, one thing that Vamanadev does now is actually glorifying Bali Maharaj's family. Now, obviously, Considering that he's born in the family of demons, we might wonder how Vamana Dev is actually praising his family. We will see that. Prahlad Maharaja is a vivid example of a pure devotee. Someone might argue that since Prahlad Maharaja, even though very old, was attached to his family and specifically to his grandson Bali Maharaj, how could he be an ideal example? So looks like Prabhupada is saying that Prahlad Maharaj was old and he was attached to family. We don't know, but Prabhupada is saying. Therefore, this verse uses the word prashantaha. A devotee is always sober. He is never disturbed by any conditions. Even if a devotee remains in Grihastha life and does not renounce material possessions, he should still be understood to be prashanta, sober, because of his pure devotion to the Lord. Now, please understand, it's not the other way around. Meaning, just because somebody is in Grihastha life and has not renounced anything doesn't mean that he is prashanta. It's the other way around. Uh, because he has pure devotion to the Lord, a Grihastha might continue to remain in Grihastha life without renouncing material possessions, but because he has pure devotion, he will be sober, prashanta, which means that he is not really attached to his material possessions. So then he can be called prashanta. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore said, Kipa Vipra Kibanyasi Shudra Kenenai, He Krishna Tattva Veta Say Guru Hoya. Whether one is a Brahmana, Sannyasi, or a Shudra, regardless of what he is, he can become a spiritual master if he knows the science of Krishna. Krishna Tattva Veta. Anyone completely aware of the science of Krishna, regardless of his status of life, status in life, is a guru, which means that he can come from any ashrama. Thus, Prahlad Maharaj is a guru in all circumstances. Here, His Lordship Vamanadev also teaches sannyasis and brahmacharis that one should not ask more than necessary. He wanted only 3 paces of land. All the Bali Maharaj wanted to give him anything he wanted. Okay, so this is something for sannyasis and brahmacharis. Of course, even for grihasthas, it's not a bad quality to develop. To be just satisfied with whatever minimum is required. It's a very good quality. न ह्येतस्मिन् कुले कश्चिन् निस्सत्त्वः कृपणः पुमान् प्रत्याख्याता प्रतिश्रुत्या यो वादाता द्विजातये. I know that even until now, no one taking birth in your family has been poor-minded or miserly. So looks like this is one good quality about this family of Bali. Though they were demons, they were never poor-minded or miserly, which means that uh, they were always ready to give charity to anyone. No one refused to give charity to Brahmanas, nor after promising to give charity has anyone failed to fulfill his promise. So looks like they were charitable. So we can understand that they were not outright demons in all respects. They also had some good qualities, and charity is a good quality, especially when it is done as per Shastra. So they're saying they never refused to give charity to Brahmanas, which is as per Shastra. Nowadays, people who have money, they don't want to give charity to, they want to give charity for old age homes and, those kind of things, orphanages, food distribution, etc. But it might not be completely as per Shastra. People who are getting it might not be worthy because Sattva charity in Sattva is given at the proper time, proper place to the Yogya person who is fit to receive that charity. So that consideration is there. So it might not be considered the topmost charity. Yeah, but looks like here their family they never refused to give charity to Brahmanas. I was telling somebody saying that for our construction of the temple in Ulimau, saying, I have relatives who have so much money, but they will not give it for this cause. They will give it to orphanages, they will give it to, further girls' education and things like that. But they are not going to give it for Krishna, for a temple, because they think that it is useless. So mostly atheists. न सन्ति तीर्थे युधि चार्थिनार्थिताः परान्मुख ये त्वमनोऽस्विनोर्नृप युष्मत्कुले यद् यशः सामलेन प्रह्लाद उद्भाति यथोदुपः खे. O King Bali, never in your dynasty has the low-minded king been born, who, upon being requested, has refused charity to Brahmanas in holy places, or a fight to Kshatriyas on a battlefield. So, in demons, they were following two principles. One, they never refused charity to Brahmanas. Second, they never refused a fight. And your dynasty is even more glorious due to the presence of Prahlada Maharaja, who is like the beautiful moon in the sky. So, obviously, this is the most important reason. But also, they were following other lower principles of Dharma also. So, both ways they were good qualities, exalted qualities. Of course, they had like demoniac nature also, but these two things were their fortune. The symptoms of a Kshatriya are given in Bhagavad Gita. One of the qualifications is willingness to give charity. Kshatriya does not refuse to give charity when requested by a Brahmana, nor can he refuse to fight another Kshatriya. A king who does refuse is called low-minded. Hmm. What is the word here? Low-minded. Amanasvinaha. No great kings. In the dynasty of Bali Maharaj, there were no such low-minded kings. Verse 5. Yato jato hiranyakshas charanyeka imam mahim prativiram digvijaye na vindata gadayudaha. It was in your dynasty that Hiranyaksha was born, carrying only his own club. He wandered the globe alone without assistance to conquer all directions, and no hero he met could rival him. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that the Lord was glorifying Hiranyaksha. He was just saying that, he was a demon, but he was going around carrying his globe, and nobody could conquer him. Yam vinirjitya krichrena Vishnukshomadhara agatam Shamodhara agatam Atmanam Jainam mene Tadviryam Anusmaran. When delivering the earth from the Garbhodaka sea, Lord Vishnu in his incarnations of boar killed Hiranyaksha, who had appeared before him. The fight was severe, and the Lord killed Hiranyaksha with great difficulty. Now, Bhagavatam doesn't describe it as a great difficulty, but there could be like other Puranas. Later, as the Lord thought about the uncommon prowess of Hiranyaksha, he felt himself victorious indeed. So, looks like it was a difficult fight. Lord felt successful, victorious. This happens when some difficult opponent and somebody overcomes that opponent, then he feels victorious. Not if it was a easy walk, cakewalk. Mm. So Lord is feeling victorious, so which means that it was a tough fight. Nishamya tadbadam bhrata hiranyakashipuppura antum bhratr anam kruddho jagama nilayam harehe. When Hiranyakashipu heard the news of his brothers being killed, with great anger he went to the residence of Vishnu, the killer of his brother, wanting to kill Lord Vishnu. Tam mayantam samalokya shulapanim kritantavat chintayamasa kalagno Vishnurmaya vinamvaraha. Seeing Hiranyakashipu coming forward, bearing a trident in his hand like personified death, Lord Vishnu, the best of all mystics and the knower of the progress of time, thought as follows. Yato yattoham tatrasau mrityupranabhrutam iva atoham asya hridayam pravekshami paragdrishaha. Wheresoever I go, Hiranyakashipu will follow me, as death follows all living entities. Therefore, it is better for me to enter the core of his heart, for then because of his power to see only externally, he will not see me. Now, again, when we read this, we should not feel that Lord Vishnu was afraid. So, previous verse is actually explaining what it is. Lord knew he is the knower of progress of time. So he knew that time has to come, when Hiranyakashipu has to be killed, when Prahlad is tormented. So he knew all this. So he didn't want to preempt it. So he just, because, see, Hiranyakashipu is a demon. So if he sees Vishnu, he's going to attack, and, Vishnu, he will inevitably kill him. And then Prahlad Maharaj had to come here to be glorified. So there's so many things. So the Lord just decided, seeing, okay, he's not going to see inside, he only sees outside. So let me just enter his heart. एवं सनिश्चित्य रिपो शरीरम् आधावतो निर्विवेशे सुरेन्द्र श्वासानिलान्तर्हितसूक्ष्मदेहस्तत्प्राणरन्ध्रेण विविघ्नचेताः. Lord Vamanadeva continued, O king of the demons, after Lord Vishnu made this decision, he entered the body of his enemy Hiranyakashipu, who was running after him with great force. So he was running after Vishnu, and Vishnu just vanished. In subtle body, inconceivable to Hiranyakashipu, Lord Vishnu, who was in great anxiety, entered Hiranyakashipu's nostril along with his breath. Now again, this anxiety is not that he was afraid. Prabhupada is explaining here. Supreme Personality of Godhead is already in the core of everyone's heart. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hriddesha arjuna tishtati. Logically, therefore, it was not at all difficult for Lord Vishnu to enter Hiranyakashipu's body. The word Vivigna Chetaha, very anxious, is significant. It is not that Lord Vishnu was afraid of Hiranyakashipu, rather because of compassion. Lord Vishnu was in anxiety about how to act for his welfare. So this also seems to be another reason. Prabhupada is mentioning that, because how to act for his welfare. So that is what Lord is thinking, and so he was anxious. स तन्निकेतं परिमृश्य शून्यम् अपश्यमानः कुपितो ननाद क्षमां दयाद्यां तिषः खं विवरान् समुद्रान् विष्णुं विचिन्वन्न ददर्श वीरः. Upon seeing that the residence of Lord Vishnu was vacant, Hiranyakashipu began searching for Lord Vishnu everywhere. Angry at not seeing him, Hiranyakashipu screamed loudly and searched the entire universe, including the surface of the earth, the higher planetary systems, all directions, all the caves and oceans. But Hiranyakashipu, the greatest hero, did not see Vishnu anywhere. अपश्यन्निति होवाच मयान्विष्टम् इदं जगत् भ्रातृहा मे गतो नूनम् यतो नावर्तते पुमान्. Unable to see him, Hiranyakashipu said, I have searched the entire universe, but I could not find Vishnu, who has killed my brother. Therefore, he must certainly have gone to the place from which no one returns. In other words, he must now be dead. So this was the misconception that Hiranyakashipu got into. So this is explained that when Lord came as boar, Hiranyakashipu thought that the Lord had fallen from his position, that he is no longer eternal, mortal. So he thought now he became, because he accepted a material body. So he thought, oh, okay, now he's become material, so I will kill him. And now he's thinking, oh, he's not visible anywhere, so he must have been dead. Atheists generally follow the Bauddha philosophical conclusion that at death everything is finished. Hiranyakashipu, being an atheist, thought this way. Because Lord Vishnu was not visible to him, he thought that the Lord was dead. Even today, many people follow the philosophy that God is dead. But God is never dead. Even the living entity who is part of God never dies. No jayate mriyate va kadachit. For the soul, there is never birth or death. This is the statement of Bhagavad Gita. Even the ordinary living entity never takes birth or dies. What then is to be said of the Supreme Person of Godhead, who is the chief of all living entities? He certainly never takes birth or dies. Ajopi sannabhyayatma. Both the Lord and the living entity exist as unborn and inexhaustible personalities. Thus, Hiranyakashipu's conclusion that Vishnu was dead was wrong. So, this is true about any jiva, but definitely true about the Supreme Lord, because he doesn't have a material body even. As indicated by the words, Yato na vartate puman, there is certainly a spiritual kingdom, and if the living entity goes there, he never returns to this material world. Tyaktva deham punarjanmana iti mameti sorjuna. Materially speaking, every living entity dies. Death is inevitable. But those who are karmis, jnanis, and yogis return to this material world after death. Whereas bhaktas do not. Of course, if a bhakta is not completely perfect, he takes birth in the material world again, but is in a very exalted position, either in a rich family or a family of the purest brahmanas, Suchinam, Srimatam, Gehe, just to finish his development in spiritual consciousness. Those who have completed the course of Krishna consciousness and are free from material desire return to the abode of the Supreme Person of Godhead. Yadgatva nanivartante tadhama paramam mama. Here the same fact is stated, Yato na vartate puman. Any person who goes back home, back to Godhead, does not return to this material world. Vairanubandayetavan amrutyor iha dehinam agnana prabhavor manyur aham mano pabrahmitaha. Hiranyakashipu's anger against Lord Vishnu persisted until his death. Other people in the bodily concept of life maintain anger only because of false ego and the great influence of ignorance. So, in bodily concept, people maintain angry only because of false ego. That he did this to me. How can he do this? That kind of thing. And the great influence of ignorance. Generally speaking, even though the conditioned soul is angry, his anger is not perpetual but temporary. It is due to the influence of ignorance. Hiranyakashipu, however, maintained his enmity and his anger against Lord Vishnu until the point of death. Even though that was also temporary, but he maintained it till death. He never forgot his vengeful attitude toward Vishnu for having killed his brother Hiranyaksha. So this also shows too much of bodily attachment is not good. We know people, they keep this kind of enmity, anger towards others till the end of their life. Not good. Others in the bodily concept of life are angry at their enemies, but not at Lord Vishnu. Hiranyakashipu, however, was everlastingly angry. He was angry not only because of his false prestige, but also because of continuous enmity toward Vishnu. Of course, his false prestige and ignorance caused enmity with Krishna, toward Krishna. So this we should avoid as devotees. This vengeful attitude, being angry, all this is not for devotees. If anything happens in the life of a devotee, they will just think, okay, it's Krishna's will to take out my false ego. So they just surrender to Krishna and don't try to take it out against the wrongdoers. But of course, Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says that a devotee might forgive, but Krishna will not forgive. So if somebody troubles a devotee, devotee is very open-minded, broad-minded. He will just say, no, 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 nothing, I deserved it. But Krishna will say, no, it is not acceptable. So which is why we have to be very careful dealing with Vaishnavas. Pita prarhada putraste tad vidvan dvijavatsalaha samayur dvijalingebhyo devebhyo dat sayachitaha. Your father Virochana, the son of Maharaja Prahlada, was very affectionate toward Brahmanas. Although he knew very well that it was the demigods who had come to him in the dress of Brahmanas, at their request he delivered to them the duration of his life. Looks like so Brahmanas came to beg him for his life. So he gave it up. I have not heard this, but yeah, I don't know the details. Maharaja Virochana, Bali's father, was so pleased with the Brahmana community that even though he knew that those approaching him for charity were the demigods in the dress of Brahmanas, he nonetheless agreed to give it, and he gave the duration of his life. So such exalted personalities. Bhavan acharitan dharman astito grahamedhibihi brahmanai purvajai surair anyeshchoddama kirtibihi. You also observed the principles followed by great personalities who are householder brahmanas, by your forefathers, and by great heroes who are extremely famous for their exalted activities. So you also followed all these principles, religious principles followed by great householder personalities, brahmanas, by your forefathers. and other great heroes. Tasmat vattamahim ishad runeham varadarshbhat padani trini daityendra sammitani padamama. O king of the Daityas, from your majesty, who come from such a noble family and who are able to give charity munificently, I ask only 3 paces of land to the measurement of my steps, not even your steps, my steps. I'm a small Brahmana. What to? Lord Vamana, they wanted 3 paces of land according to the measurement of his footsteps. He did not want more than necessary. But although he pretended to be an ordinary human child, he actually wanted the land comprising the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. This was just to show the prowess of the Supreme Person of Godhead. Of course, um, so Lord here is also teaching, as part of his teaching to conditioned souls, he's saying, do not desire for more than necessary. Mm. Don't take more than necessary. But everybody does this, including devotees. Uh, Devotees also want more. One thing all devotees want more is prasadam, which is it's okay initially. Actually, some devotees think that this itself is okay. For throughout our life, we can keep overeating prasadam. No, you should not overeat. Overeat means taking more than necessary. That is okay in the initial stage because there is no other enjoyment for our senses. So we take prasadam as our enjoyment. But as we make progress in Krishna consciousness, we should take only as much as is necessary. Hmm? Not only that, actually, many devotees also are running behind material gains, economic development more than necessary. Why? Because they say, we don't know the future, which means what? No faith in Krishna. We don't know the future means no faith in Krishna. Of course, we don't know the future. But if you forget Krishna, then we just become like a karmi. We should not be worried about our future. Krishna is in control of the future, full control. We should just simply have faith in him. That's all. So we don't have to keep running behind things like this. Oh, I want this, I want that. What about my retirement fund? Where will I get food? Yesterday I was reading something. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to tell his mother used to be worried. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to give a lot of charity. Like he used to simply just keep calling people left, right, and center home for prasadam. Like that. And when they come, give them charity. Mm. And his mother was worried because there's no earning member. He was not earning either. Whatever his father had earned, is all spending. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells his mother, saying that, "Oh, you should not worry about future. Krishna is there. Krishna will take care." Mm. If we read that, we might feel that no, this is too much actually, overly transcendental. It's not overly transcendental. It's just firm faith in the words of the Supreme Lord, who says that Yogakshem Vahamyam, I will take care. Mm. So we should not hesitate um, to give. Prabhupada says excess earning. Now, who defines excess earning? We only define excess earning. We say, no, this is not excess. This is required for me. So then excess earning becomes zero. So nothing for Krishna. Thank you, Krishna. You gave everything, but I need everything for myself. Miserly nature. Right? So we should not be too concerned. If we really do something for the pleasure of the Lord, I think I told before also, really, I am very senior Vaishnavi. She came to me and she said, we want this temple to come up here. And she said, I have gold, I want to sell it off. So then I was thinking, okay. Then she's continued speaking and she said, It must be few lakhs. I said, Mataji, is that okay? Are you are willing to sell that? She said, yeah. Anyway, my daughter wanted to give it to Udupi Krishna. I think that Krishna and this Krishna are not different. So we are okay to do it. I said, exalted personalities. Right? So they have no fear. They're not worried about future. And that Mataji is like, she's aged and she just, maybe doesn't look like, she's not like a big preacher or anything like that. But look at her faith. Look at her faith in Krishna. I mean, I was so inspired, I should say. Impressed is the wrong word. Inspired. So inspired, actually, when she said, like, oh, amazing. Yeah. And we see so many grihasthas, they have how many years of their lives in front of them to work, etc., etc. But still they're concerned. They want to do so much of saving and this and that and all that. Okay, all that is fine. But then when there is a requirement saying, okay, Krishna's house has to be built, then how can we hesitate? How can we think it's my money? I want to keep that money. It's very unfortunate, shows very low level of surrender. We should have faith that Krishna will give. Mm. He will take care. And we don't have to accumulate more than necessary. Anyway, so we'll stop here. Next is, yeah, so this very interesting episode continues. So we'll discuss that tomorrow. Again, we'll be back to our normal time, Krishna willing. So just 2 days of aberration. Okay. So I'll stop here. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की जय, ताय गौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल. ओके. पंचा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की जय. Okay, if somebody wants to say one or two things in like 2-3 minutes, we can do. Otherwise, I'll disconnect. Otherwise, we can take the whole discussion tomorrow. Okay, maybe that's better. Yeah. Okay, thank you all for joining. I'm disconnecting. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Pranam.
Hare
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Pranam to
Hare Krishna
everybody.
Prabhuji, Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Pranam to everybody.
Krishna Prabhu, Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Pranam. Okay, I'm disconnecting. Thank you all for joining.